Hi, Disneylanders with special needs. My name is Ashley Jones. Welcome to part 4 of my YouTube series, Surviving Disneyland with Autism and Other Special Needs. Part 4 is going to cover my basic tips for surviving Disneyland and California Adventure. And the tips are going to cover also about transportation tips just as you're getting to go on the Amtrak to actually go to Anaheim. In part 1, I covered going from Union Station to ARTC, which is the Anaheim Regional Transportation Intermodal Center. But this time, first I'm going to give you some Amtrak tips. When the Amtrak is going to start up service so people can go to Disneyland when it reopens, my tips on Amtrak are very simple. Make sure that before you board the train, you make sure you got adequate amount of sleep and made sure you have all your tickets, your phone tickets, and make sure your tickets are also printed out on a piece of paper just in case the QR code on your phone does not work very well. The paper tickets turned out to be a lot better for me. Now, the other thing you're going to need to know is with your phone, you want to make sure it is completely 100% charged before you board Amtrak to go from Union Station or wherever your train station is to go to ARTC. The issue is many people let their phones start dying early because they're on it, looking at everything they think they're going to need for the trip. Like friends' contacts, they're contacting their friends and texting people. You can do that if you need to. Like, for me, I always have to tell my mom and my dad when I arrive at a train station or the theme park itself. But you do not want to let your battery go too far down, or else what's going to end up happening is your phone is going to die before you really get, inside the theme park and everything, and that's not good. So the other thing I would advise you to do is buy, or if you already have it, a power bank for your phone. Use your power bank to charge it up, and then put your power cord inside your bank, and then put it inside the phone. Make sure that's 100% charged as well. And make sure that you can use that when your power starts dwindling enough to where you're having trouble, like with the battery on your phone in case it's ready to die. Don't let your phone go too far down in battery, because if it does, you may be in trouble if you have an emergency or if something is wrong at the train station or when you're on the train. My other tips on Amtrak are make sure you know where the train doors are. Make sure you meet at least a couple people near you in case they can talk to you and let you know, like if you don't know which stop is next or you don't understand something, even though they make it pretty clear, you always want to be able to talk to somebody just in case you don't understand something. The other thing I'll advise you is to figure out the name, if possible, of your train conductor and another staff member on the train to help you, just in case you need something. Also, when I went on Amtrak almost 2 years ago, I had my drinks taken down to me downstairs because there's stairs on Amtrak and they can be hard to get on up to the cafe car. So if you need help, either make sure you have a companion with you or let them know you want your food delivered to you downstairs if possible. The other thing that's going to be really tricky for some people is that, yes, there are bathrooms on Amtrak, but sometimes they may be hard for people with special needs and mobility issues to use because they may not be handicap accessible. I'm not sure because I didn't go to the restroom when I was on Amtrak. I went to the bathroom before I boarded the train at Union Station, even though I did not like it, even during the day. Definitely do not use it at night because that's when what that incident was I described in another video happened to me. Anyway, the other thing I'm going to tell you is that when you get onto the train, you will always have to be careful that you listen to all safety instructions from the conductor and the other staff, just in case, something could go wrong at any time and you need to be ready. Officially, when you get to the Anaheim Regional Transportation Intermodal Center, or ARTC, become familiarized with the layout of the train station, the floors that everything is on, and ask staff for help if you don't understand where you are or what the train station offers for services. There is a self-help CVS kiosk in Arctic that will help you get over-the-counter medications such as Imodium, Pepto, Band-Aids, and various other first aid things, as well as personal supplies. So if people needed certain things from that kiosk, it is great, but you will need to have enough money, like cash and or card, to make sure you can get yourself your products if you're running low on something. Last time I was there, almost 2 years ago, I had to buy some Imodium because my stomach got upset for about an hour from being on public transportation and eating a little bit. Like I wasn't supposed to eat all that, processed breakfast and stuff that I had. I had a muffin, some coffee, and even a granola bar, and that didn't really agree with me. So just be warned, you might want to get some stomach relief out of those kiosks. Anyway, the other thing I'm going to tell you is once you get to Disneyland, sorry, once again, like in another video, uncontrollable itching will sometimes happen to me because of my allergies. So sorry you have to see that. The other thing that you may want to know is when you get to Disneyland officially from Arctic, after you dropped off, yes, I recommend dropping your bags off at your hotel for sure. And ask the hotel if you can keep your luggage at the hotel while you go to the parks. I've never had problems with that before. So please understand that that's most likely very, very okay. The other thing you want to do before you actually head into the theme park is ask the hotel where the restroom is inside the hotel, outside near where the desks are or whatever. Use the restroom before you go to the park because you will have to stand in line to go through security check once Disneyland reopens. They'll most likely have a new system to check people in, though. I'm not sure how that's going to work. So when Disneyland reopens, we'll see what the checking process is and all the security checks. Once you're inside the park, the thing I recommend to do, go right away to the restroom and wash your hands. We need everybody to do their job and keep each other healthy and clean, even when the parks officially reopen. Go wash your hands. Make sure that you have everything you need and that you can be rest assured that you won't have to stop too often to keep interrupting your day at the parks, in the bathrooms or at the lockers. So do everything you need to do firsthand. The problem is that yes, there is an ATM, a Chase ATM inside of Disneyland, but you can officially take money out, but you cannot put money in. In order to do that, there's a Chase not too far from Disneyland. I think it's around 2 or 3 miles. I could be wrong. It didn't take long, but I had to take a lift to get to Chase. So don't let that happen to you, Disneyland special needs people, because I don't want it to happen to you. The other thing you're going to need to know is that if an emergency does arise at the parks and you're hurt or have a medical complication in any way, please make sure you have your ID or driver's license or both. Make sure you have your medical insurance cards and whatever else you need so people know, and even a list of your medications, so the staff will know what to do for you if an emergency does come up. Anything can happen. I'll tell a weird story what happened to me about 3.5 or 4 years ago. When I went to Disneyland one of those times, it happened to be very windy that December, and I didn't realize it was going to get that windy. What ended up happening is at that time I didn't have my glasses because I didn't need them quite yet. What ended up happening was that there was these palm trees waving around really, really hard. Somehow a piece of the palm tree, I don't know how this happened, it was really scary. A piece of the palm frond got stuck in my eye, in my left eye. So the issue is, if you see the winds happening, you need to be careful of your body at all costs. Because if something gets in your eye, you will most likely have to do what I did and get in a lift or a bus and go to an urgent care center that's not too far from the parks. I think it's about a 10 or 15 minute drive. I could be wrong. Somebody wants to say how long it took them if they had to go to urgent care around there. Type in the comments below and tell me how long it took for you. So, when a situation does arise as well, there are also some rules at Disneyland. Sorry for the stuttering. Sometimes that happens. Some situations may occur where people are not always going to be very happy, even though it's the happiest place on earth. There are people that can ruin the experience for you if you let them, including tired guests, people who are jealous of others for getting certain perks. Those with special needs are in that category because a lot of times we get help like using an access or a DAS pass to get out of using the stairs to the rides. So to many other people, it looks like we're getting on the ride instantly and without, going through the regular lines. The only thing that's true about that is we're using a accessible line to help us get on the ride without hurting ourselves. Because Disneyland does not want to be responsible for injuries to guests because of liability. But they do have a first aid station, so they do take care of guests with injuries, but you're responsible taking care of yourself otherwise. So please be careful and don't let people ruin your experience. You can get escorted out of the park for various things. Some of them for being, fighting, getting mad and yelling and causing a fuss, trying to jump the lines for the rides. You will also get in trouble for harassing any staff, including characters, cast members, other people that might be undercover security guards, so watch out. They do have that there. The other thing you can get kicked out for, of course, and arrested for sure, shoplifting. Don't do it. The other thing you could get in serious trouble for is if you were to hurt anybody, including characters. And yes, I say this to people because people think because the characters are mascots and in masks, that they think they can do what they want to them because they may not be able to see what they're doing to them, and that is very false. They may have limited vision inside those costumes, but they can feel pain just like everybody else. And they will be having to, on their break or whatever, if a cast member sees you harassing anybody, you will most likely be escorted out of the park and even possibly banned from Disneyland for life or for the time that they give you. You do not want these things to happen to you because it could ruin not only your vacation and your experience there, possibly the rest of your life could be pretty ruined. So, with that topic going away, let's go into being careful around certain obstacles in the parks that some people will find out with special needs. It might be harder to avoid a few things. If by any chance you have trouble with curbs, like I do sometimes where I've tripped over a curb by mistake because I've lost my balance before, the curbs are being really lowered or flattened pretty much all over Disneyland and Fantasyland. I think they've gotten them all taken off of Main Street now. But the problem is some people still do not watch where they're going, and they will bump into guests, knock people over by mistake, or even worse. One guest was not paying attention to when he was walking near me when I was on the route to Fantasyland from Main Street. I got my heel stepped on and my shoe almost came off. So I just tried really hard to say, excuse me, please don't, walk on me. And he couldn't see me, obviously, because he wasn't paying attention, or I was a lot smaller than this person. So whatever happened, just be aware that if somebody does something and they're going to accidentally step on you, please let them know that you're right there and you're walking too, and maybe trying to get into the same or a different area. If somebody is mean to you after they accidentally injure you or, accidentally make your experience bad because they kind of wrecked your day by being mean, just tell a cast member honestly what happened, and they can probably talk to you and see what they can do to make your experience much better. I don't know what else that would entail because sometimes they might help guests have a better day by giving them a secret perk, or even like a fast pass or something to go on a ride. Just depends on what cast member you get and what is allowed at the parks to help you have a better day. Now, the other thing I'm going to warn you about is another idea that you can say to people is if you're not having the best day or you see somebody else having a bad day, definitely if you're not having the best day, try to think about that it could be a lot worse when you're at the parks. I helped a young family one time that was not having a very nice day at the parade route because people kept telling this little girl to go back to her family when she couldn't see the parade. So she couldn't see anything because she was really small. So I asked her family if she could come sit with me in the front row of the parade route, and they were more than happy to oblige. So you can do many good things for others at Disney parks too, also in regular life. Just make somebody smile and don't ruin anybody's experience at the parks. The other thing that I'll warn you about is to have really good hand sanitation and cleanliness habits when you're at Disneyland and California Adventure, because there are a lot of metal surfaces and wooden surfaces everywhere. And it just takes a couple germs to get viruses, colds, and other various things that you don't realize you may not, you can't see germs. So you just have to be careful and understand there's risks. So if anybody has any other questions so far, please feel welcome to ask me questions. But like I said on other videos, no derogative or negative comments, no bullying allowed on my profile, and have fun watching the videos and learning all you can about surviving Disneyland with special needs and autism. The other thing I'm going to tell you now is that when you also need to learn about during shows and everything, for those with special needs that need to be reminded about safety, sometimes a couple times, and from different sources, please do not try to get up like with the dark shows unless you really have to. And don't try to leave by yourself, because when the lights are off, you could fall, you could get lost, you could get hurt, and various things could happen to you that you least expect. So please be careful and follow all the rules that they say just before the show or the parade starts. With attractions, some things that are not allowed. If the ride utilizes a safety belt or a lap band or any other kind of enclosure to keep you in the ride, please do not unbuckle your seatbelt or anything at any time, because you're actually being seen on camera. They can see what you're doing when you're going to try to unbuckle your seatbelt, stand up, try to get out of the ride, whatever. They see you. You most likely cannot see those cameras. They are incredibly hidden, and many people don't even know about the cameras. So I'm warning you now, there are cameras. You're watched all over the theme parks, no matter where you are. The only exception to that, of course, is probably the bathrooms. I don't know. Who knows? At Disneyland, it is so strict with safety regulations. I don't even know if you're safe there. Anybody has comments about where you're safe and where you're not from those cameras, you can feel free to comment and even ask other questions like that. Even we might be able to have some other cast members come on here and answer questions for guests, that would be great. So if anybody, like cast members, might want to watch this video, come and talk about some things that you would share with special needs guests. One of the other things I'm going to say now is that the other thing about safety is that when you're eating, it's always best to not, get up and walk while you're eating, because especially if you have special needs, you can be very prone to choking or spilling your items and everything. So please don't get up and walk around with your food, because we also want you to be safe and keep the parks beautiful. The other thing is, if social distancing protocols are in place still at Disneyland, like they are at Walt Disney World, you will have to sit stationary where they tell you you're allowed to eat and take off your mask. And also, drinking has to be done stationary and sitting down too. I know these rules may make some people mad and everything, but those are just the rules you have to follow at the parks. There's no getting out of rules in life, no matter what, sometimes. We may get mad and we may want to rebel against the parks when they give us so many rules. But don't, or else it could get you in a lot of trouble. One of the last parts of this video is going to be to say that I am so happy that so far a lot of people look like they've already watched the videos, because one of them has like 15 views, I think it is, and one of them has like 12. So I am very thankful to those who have checked out the video so far. Have a great day, Disneyland special needs members, and I'll be talking to you later. Bye.